My precious. So you've watched all the build vlogs, you know that we already broke a record on Firestrike, but you want to know how well does the R9 Nano water-cooled hold up in 2018 now. For those of you that are new or didn't check out the vlog, this build is for QuakeCon. Now, it will be getting transformed into a Warframe mod, but I didn't have quite enough time. V1 Tech will actually be out at QuakeCon, and I just got a message on Facebook from Hassan that he'll be bringing the parts along with him, so maybe we'll do some stuff on site. That aside, what we have here is a Gigabyte AB350N gaming Wi-Fi, the mini ITX board with a Ryzen 7 2700 and 32 gigs of, 16 gigs of Corsair Dominator Platinum at 3200 megahertz, CAS latency 15. We have the ADATA NVMe drive, 512 gigabytes, and the Radeon R9 Nano overclocked. Everything is overclocked. On the CPU, we're only up to 4 gigahertz, unfortunately, because of some VRM temperature problems. And hopefully, maybe they'll release a mini ITX monoblock, but at this point, that's not an option. And the GPU got a crazy good overclock of all the way up to 1165 megahertz on the GPU core. And we're going to talk about benchmarks right now. Just going to jump right into it. First of all, Firestrike was a total score of 15,211 with a score of 18,588 on the GPU. On Firestrike Extreme, we got a score of 8,248. And moving on to Time Spy, in the base Time Spy, we scored 6,008 points, and on Ultra, 4,443 points, and on Extreme, 2,771, breaking the record on the R9 Nano for both the base Firestrike and base Time Spy records. Moving on to some real world gaming here, we have Deus Ex Mankind Divided with 1% mins of 55, a max of 90.5, and an average of 69.1 on the Ultra settings at 1080p. Now, if we turn those settings down, a couple of them are quite demanding, we would be perfectly fine in over 60 FPS at 1080p. Moving on to World of Tanks with the new Encore engine. Unfortunately, they don't have actual FPS data, and I don't really have the time before packing up for QuakeCon and testing this RX 64 over here to actually load Present Mon and run all the numbers myself. I will probably do that when I get back. But as a base benchmark, if you run this on your rig, you can compare it to my score, which was a 19,167, which is apparently really good. Anything over 10,000 is extremely good, according to the World of Tanks developers. Now we have another synthetic benchmark, Superposition, which a lot of people like. We had a minimum FPS at 4K optimized of 28.5. a max of 42.6, and an average of about 33 FPS. It did tend to stay, that minimum is probably one of those 0.1% lows, not probably, it is, and the max and average are right up there. So you do stay pretty much above 30 FPS at 4K with this rig, no problem. Moving on to Ashes of the Singularity in Vulcan. So this was the Vulcan title we tested. We had an average FPS of 46.9 across all tests, and that was on the crazy preset at 1080p. Finally, we had Final Fantasy 15 on high settings, the built-in benchmark. You can go download it for free, and the score was 4,944, beating out a 980 Ti but falling just short of a GTX 1070. So some of the things we can learn from this rig is that the R9 Fury series is definitely not outdated at this point. If you get a good deal on the used market, it can really trade punches. You're just going to have to invest in some cooling. Now, if you're an enthusiast like me, you probably just want to liquid cool just to liquid cool and take it to a LAN event, which is pretty much the only reason I do it, so I can take it to a LAN event. Yep, I'm vain like that. That aside, if you're gonna do that, you could save some money, possibly if you can find a good price on them used, and pick them up and throw them in a build. And if you water cool them, it's pretty easy to start trading blows with 1070s. If you went with a bigger card and a bigger case and a bigger form factor than we have here, going for that Fury X can get you probably into the 20,000s pretty easily and start trading blows closer to the 1080 performance, which is pretty nuts. And of course, it takes a lot of tweaking and BIOS modding and so on, but it is a feasible thing. And if you are an enthusiast, I could totally see wanting to play with one of these GPUs and possibly even purchasing one over some of the newer alternatives. Now, all of that being said, if the price to performance is the biggest thing in mind, obviously this is not a good idea. But is it fun? Hell yeah. Does it trade blows with the 1070? Yes. Are we happy as far as this build goes? Extremely. I think I'm more happy with this build than I've been with any build since probably Raven, which is the Ryzen 5 2400G. And if you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll notice that I don't really quite go along the lines of the standard builds. I like to have some fun. So hope you guys sub. Let me know what you guys think of the build in the comment section below. If you're going to be out at QuakeCon, hit me up in the DMs here or over on Twitter @SonOfATech and come say hi. Other than that, I'll see you next Tuesday.